I'm Peter Haddock, and I'm here with my great industry friend, Chris Matthew. Chris, Commercial Director of Plantforce now, and we've always talked about the CAP community. We've been involved in that for many years now, but also we've got big news on the horizon with the government talking about things like house building, and we're here at Highways UK as well on road infrastructure. Big report, 426 billion benefit to the economy 2050, the CAP report from Costain. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on that, and you know, if it's achievable, but also, you know, then let's talk about what's happening in the industry when it comes to digitalisation.
I think the report was good that it got an opinion from across different industry stakeholders. I think ultimately what it's done is it's summarised the overall benefits from all of the different, whether it be plant hire companies, technology companies, and put it into a consumable number so that people can actually be aware that there is this huge pot of gold, so to speak, at the end of the rainbow if they just engage with technology that we've currently got available.
And I think what is really interesting, I've talked to a few people today, is we have this jump when we mandated machine control from the likes of Leica Geosystems.
Yeah,
there's other technologies where you can bring into the industry, but when it gets mandated, something happens, doesn't it? And it's really important that the CAP group support this element of let's find something that we can all work together on, and that clients understand, then it works all the way down to the sort of earthworks providers.
It's good to have a framework. All contractors need to have a framework, almost a set of rules, a standard to which to work to. I'm not a big fan of hitting people with a stick. I'd prefer industry and government disincentivize the old way of doing things. So, for example, if we've got this report, right, we've got efficiency and productivity gains that we want to try and obtain. So we want to disincentivize the old method of doing things. If we use CAP, if we use data to make decisions, if you feed that into behavioral change pieces, then that's surely better, right? So that building contractor who's using those tools is going to win more work as a result. I think if people identify with the report in that way, it's far stronger than getting hit over with a stick for not doing something.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what's really interesting is when you have something like that and you're rewarding investment, because the thing is, technology doesn't come free. Neither does the latest piece of equipment that have eco modes and auto modes that actually, you know, bring the revs down if you're not working hard. Now, all of these sort of things are going to save carbon and fuel, but unless we're incentivized to do so, we're not going to have that uptake, are we?
But that's what CAP is, right? Yeah. The CAP has to be, if you follow this process or this framework, you're going to achieve better productivity, you'll be faster, hopefully you'll use fewer machines, you'll be safer, you'll burn less fuel. That should be it in a nutshell. Yeah. You know, let's use technology-led decisions as opposed to big legislative frameworks or guidance from the government. It's good that the government acknowledges it, but let's let the technology talk.
And also, let's let the industry talk together. I think that's really important about the CAP group, because people all talk together rather than it coming from, like you say, the push down. Yeah. And I think, you know, what are the things that are exciting you? Obviously, you've done something recently with hydrogen as well, when you're talking about fuel and the hydrogen mix for element one. What things are exciting you about this opportunity where we say, look, this is a huge number, let's come together and hit?
Well, it goes back to the roadmap of how we implement all of these different technologies. I was fortunate enough to catch Mark Lawton's talk here at Highways UK, and he explained the journey that we're already on. So connected autonomous plant isn't this amazing vision of the future where we've got lots of robots all digging in a sandpit all together. But between that point and where we're at the moment, we've got to embrace semi-automatics. Yeah, there are technology providers already, with whether it be Leica Geosystems or others, who can put on board technology which enables a smart machine to dig accurately with very rudimentary inputs from an operator. That technology is here now, but I don't think it's fully landed. So to your point, what excites me, getting people to adopt what we've already got. Yep. You mentioned hydrogen. We've got a massive journey to make with alternative fuels. People have been talking about HVO for a couple of years. I think now what we're going to begin to see is using hydrogen as a tool, and it might be a blend, it might be in combustion. Maybe utopia is that we've got hydrogen fuel cells on board, and we can debate that all day long in terms of whether that's the right way to go. But we can do things now that will have an impact. I'm excited to see the hydrogen producers come on board, so they're making it more available, easier to get these products to sites, so we've got the infrastructure to refuel. Maybe we've got electrolysis machines where they're appropriate to be stationed. and we can use that as a blend. Maybe it's a 10% blend, maybe it's all the way up to a 40 or even a 50% blend. We're probably still going to be using diesel, but if we can reduce our consumption of diesel, have a lower carbon output for the same unit of work, then I think that's exciting.
I think it is, and I think what's equally exciting about that is making it practical. So if you can just switch to diesel because that machine needs to be used on a diesel site because of the infrastructure that's not there, then that's great. So you're not sitting an asset down.
Yeah.
You're making the most of that asset and sweating that asset. Equally, if you can then change the mixes up, then that actually enables you to add in more fuel and then more of a mix. Then as you gradually get more of this infrastructure in, we can gradually make it work.
Well, technology is going to keep on evolving. The test machines that we're doing at the moment, nobody's done this on NRMM yet, non-road mobile machinery. But we're going to get to a point where lots of other people are testing all sorts of different technologies and different blends and different methods for doing it. So I'm not fixated with the end goal. I think it's the journey that we need to accept. These are the stepping stones. And I want to pick up on one of your points. I've got customers now who are beginning to challenge me with the embodied carbon of a machine.
Yep.
I've worked in this game long enough now to know that the trends for the last 10 to 15 years have always been to have the newest, most modern fleet. Now, whilst that's a good tagline, what it's done is it's pushed the hire companies to constantly invest or recycle their machines every 3 to 4 years. Yep. The amount of energy that's consumed in manufacturing a machine only to sell it after 4 years, when it's still got maybe 20 more years of useful work ahead of it, more in some cases, seems a bit wasteful. So I quite like the idea of going back to this retrofit refurb program where we're taking a reasonable machine, it might be 5 years old, and we're giving it a second life. We're painting it, we're refurbishing all the actual parts, but maybe we're adding a hydrogen injection system on, which is significantly maybe halving the emissions, putting that out to work. What a fantastic opportunity that the industry's got to benefit, make some real change from that kind of technology.
Yeah, we've seen it being done in the mining industry. So, we even see mining trucks now on Mine Expo with just a gap in the middle where it says just put whatever you want in there, whether it's diesel, whether it's hydrogen, whether it's a load of batteries, whatever it is, that fuels that machine. Doesn't matter, it can change because machines are built better now
as a platform, and then you can insert your technology here. What a great slogan.
Yeah, and then when you're doing that, if you've got an all-electric site and you're using battery banks, you're just literally plonking them back in. You're not even recharging something at source. You're just changing the batteries in it. Yeah, out it goes. It's a bit like the refueling mechanism that you have with diesel now. It takes, 20 minutes to refuel a machine and it takes 20 minutes to pump the new batteries in. And I think that, all of that, and even tethered machines with electrical point of view. But all of those sort of things are exciting. But all of this comes down to, Chris, is the big key word, people. And, two key words for me, people and productivity. But
I thought you were going to say price.
The customer will say price. Maybe three then in that case. But the other things we can do with technology is we can help people come into the industry. We can give them an aid with machine control. We can support them to be safer so they can focus on the task at hand. And we can remove people from around them with the 3D models and things like that, can't we? There's a lot more to the delivery of CAT than just the technology itself.
Absolutely. I think if we don't bring people along, none of this changes. And you've mentioned the operators, but I'm talking about the general foreman, the superintendents, the plant managers, the procurement teams, the site office staff. But referencing the operators themselves, and I'm stealing things that I heard today from the CAT meeting, but I envisage a world where we've got monitors of plant and they are monitoring it remotely as if it was a drone that the military are using today. It's perfectly possible. The bottom line is anything that we can do to remove people from that workface, that interface, has got to be for the better. But we can't allow people to feel threatened by that. Change is coming, but we've got to evolve it. It's going to be one step at a time. People shouldn't fear autonomous plant. It's a journey.
Yeah, we've seen it already. I sat on a CAT command station operating a dozer in Arizona. They've got that sort of technology, as have others, to the general construction site. And, it's always been, if it's a dangerous area, we take a machine into there. It doesn't have to be that. If it's a laborious task as well, that people don't, find it difficult to get to the job site, or if you've got younger people coming through the PlayStation generation, they want to be amongst other people in a cab. They can sit there and be next to people in these stations. So, but they feel part of a team.
And it goes to one of your P's, so the productivity side of things. I think we're fixated on data. I think that's good. I think we understand that the data is available, but we haven't quite learnt what to do with it. So we're a bit intimidated by it. And what people are trying to do is force utilization where utilization hasn't been designed in from the get-go. But if you're in a situation where you might have two physical machines on site, but one of them's run out of work, maybe there's no trucks to come and be loaded for the moment. If you've got an remote control operator, how easy would it be just to flick that operator to control another machine that might be on a different part of the site, or even a different part of the country for that matters? You know, so at that point, you're then utilizing your operator to as near as reasonable 100%. Meanwhile, the machines, they're interchangeable. So they might be sitting idle, but they're switched off. They're not costing anyone any operating costs, so to speak. That can help drive some operational efficiency from some of our client sites. What a great opportunity.
It is a great opportunity. I always say to people, it's like when you get onto the site and you're trudging there and you're, I met a guy the other day, he'd broken his ankle twice just coming off machines because of the nature of the mud and slipping and things like that. When you take that technology further out there, but you're still training people how to operate a machine so that they can get into the machine if they want to, that is fantastic. But as we say, the low-hanging fruit is to be picked at the moment. And so we'll end this with 3 Ps then, Chris. People, productivity, and price. But if you can get it all wrapped up to make it perform, then I'll give you a 4. Cheers.
Really.